If you have a sales team and they're not performing well, they're underperforming, they're not closing as high as you know they could be closing, or if you're a sales professional or an entrepreneur and you feel like you're not closing as high because there's something holding you back and you're not performing as well, well, in this video, I'm going to show you how by focusing on this one hidden metric, you can double, triple, or quadruple your closing rate. And before you go, who is this guy? Why should I even listen to this guy? I've worked with over 100 entrepreneurs, some of the biggest names in the industry like Thomas Gannett, Jordan Platten, Matt Shields, Nathan Nazareth, and help them scale their companies by improving that one metric that has allowed them to close at a higher level. All of them are doing sales or are either sales professionals or entrepreneurs that are behind the phone taking sales calls, and optimizing this metric has allowed them to close at a higher level. And it will make a lot of sense when I walk you through how it works. You're probably viewing sales or thinking about sales from the conventional way, which is my closing rate is affected by the offer quality, the lead quality, the people that I'm jumping on the phone with, and my sales skills. So all those three aspects will equal to how high I'm able to close. It's pretty simple, right? But actually, this formula here disregards some of the important things that affect your closing rate. One of the main things that heavily influence your closing rate is your mental performance. Because let's say your offer quality is like a 9 or a 10. Let's say you have the best offer in the world. Let's say your leads are a 9 or a 10. You have like ready to buy leads, highly qualified. Let's say you're top-notch sales guy. But let's say you get on the phone, you're tired, you're foggy, you lack focus. Won't that affect your ability to close people? Let's say you have 6 calls on your calendar for that particular day. The first call is going to be good. The second call is going to be a bit worse. The third call is going to suck up way more. And as you're taking every call, your energy drops and drops and drops. Won't that affect your closing rate? Let's say on the other hand, you get on the phone, you're high energy all day, you're focused on what the prospect tells you to like, and you hear what the prospect tells you, you're sharp, you can articulate your words better. Won't that affect your closing rate? It probably will. And I have created a formula that will help us understand how those metrics will affect your closing rate, but let's get to that in a minute. And I'm sharing this from my experience after working with hundreds of high-performing individuals that are making from $20K a month all the way up to $6 million a month. This here, mental performance, is simply your energy levels, your mental clarity, and your focus. And this is an amplifier because you have your consistent variables like your offer quality. When you get on the phone, this is something that you can't really change on the phone. So it's something that is like a fixed variable. Let's say your offer is a 8. It's a pretty good offer. Let's say your sales skills are an 8. Let's say your lead quality can be a bit better, like a 7. You're probably going to be closing. And this is like, don't take this as this is like the golden formula. It's probably wrong, but this is just to prove a point. Let's say you're closing at 30%. Let's say your energy levels, and this data here comes after working with hundreds of entrepreneurs that had sales teams, and entrepreneurs like agency owners, like for example, Brady or Elijah or Matt, all those people you see here that had agencies that were on the phone talking to leads. And so what we found when they came to us, their overall mental performance was between a 4 and a 6. So if we were averaged out, it's probably going to be at a 5 out of 10. So energy levels at a 5, mental clarity at a 5 out of 10, focus at a 5 out of 10. This 30% variable only gets calculated if we don't take this into the equation. So now let's see what happens when we start taking this into consideration, when we start actually thinking about our mental performance. Because this, as I said here, this is the variables that are behind your mental performance. And this here will simply act as a multiplier. Let me explain why. Let's say you keep those variables the exact same. But let's say now you bump your energy levels to an 8 out of 10 average. You see the multiplier starts increasing. And why? Because that is going to affect how you articulate yourself in your calls. This is going to affect your energy levels throughout the whole day. Because if your energy levels crash after 2 calls, this is going to affect your closing rate. Let's say we take our mental clarity to an 8. You see now the performance level multiplier goes a bit higher. And this is because when you have more mental clarity, you can focus on the right things the prospect says, and you have your sales framework crystal clear all the way throughout the call. The words that you say are super effective and you can articulate yourself. Let's turn this into an 8 as well. we can now see that the performance level multiplier has doubled. How is this going to affect your closing rate? So we can see that our optimized closing rate is now at a 58%. You've doubled your closing rate just by increasing your energy levels, mental clarity, and focus. And this shows you that you've essentially, on paper, doubled your closing rate. Now, you're probably like, is this going to actually happen? Well, let me ask you this, my friend. If this stays the exact same way that is as a baseline, if you go from a 5 to an 8, not even a 10, and let's say an 8 to be realistic, you can have your fun in the weekends, you can keep that work-life balance, whatever, right? Won't that increase your closing rate? You will wake up feeling energized, you're going to be sharp and articulate in your calls, and you're going to be able to maintain that for your entire calls that you have scheduled in your calendar. Not for just the first two, but for your entire set of calls. So let's say before, with the 5 energy, 5 mental clarity, 5 focus, you're able to maintain a pretty high performance for the first couple of calls in the day from your 6 or whatever scheduled calls you have in your calendar. That means that your first 2 calls are going to be good, and then the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th call are going to suck. Now, you have pretty good sales skills, but as good sales skills you have, like let's say you have the best sales skills on the planet, if you're tired, unfocused, and sloppy and foggy, you are going to mess up your words. You're not going to be focusing on the right things the prospect says, even if you have the most advanced experience ever. Let's take this example here. Let's say your offer, lead quality, and sales skills is like a bow. The mental performance is the arrow. Let's say your offer, sales skills, and lead quality is a 10 out of 10. Let's say your mental performance is like a 5. What's going to happen in this case is this. So this is the arrow, which is the mental performance, and this is the bow. So we have a really strong bow. If your sales skills, if your lead quality and offer is really strong, well, you're going to have a strong bow. But if your sharpness, your mental acuity, your mental performance is low, well, you have a really super strong bow, but the arrowhead is a plastic arrow, doesn't really do a lot of impact. On the other hand, let's say your sales skills are awesome, your offer quality is perfect, your lead quality is dialed in, so you're not longer performing at a 5 out of 10. You're now performing at like a 9 out of 10, out of 10 out of 10. The higher your level of mental performance is, the sharper the arrowhead is going to be, the higher impact you're going to have. So if you put, let's say, if you put 10 bottles in a row and you have a super strong bow, but not a super strong arrow, you're probably going to go through a couple of the first bottles before this crashes down and stops having any impact whatsoever. Let's say you have you maintain the strength of the bow, but you replace the arrow with a super sharp arrow. It's going to go through most of those bottles in that row, and it's going to have a much more consistent and continuous impact, because this, again, your mental performance is an amplifier. And let's say your energy levels go from a 5 to a 9. Let's say your mental clarity goes from a 5 to an 8.5. Let's say your focus goes from a 5 to a 9. In that case, you're going to more than double your closing rate, because you can actually focus all of that power and all of that knowledge and all of those skills to precisely the right spot. The best part is you can maintain that level of performance throughout your whole entire day, your call after call after call. And this is why every time we've implemented that with one of our clients, it has helped them double, triple, or quadruple their revenue, because it's super simple and it's simple math. If you go from only thinking about those 3 numbers to thinking about those 3 numbers, but also thinking about those 3 numbers as well, it's going to help you close higher. And let's see the other fun impact it has on the equation of offer quality, lead quality, sales skills. By performing better mentally, this is going to also allow you to improve your sales skills further. It's going to allow you to take that feedback you got from your sales calls and implement that faster, because you're now able to stay more sharp and focused and creative and energized. So you're able to improve yourself rather than having all of your sales goals burn you out, not leaving you with enough mental real estate to do anything else. You're now able to improve your sales skills. So you're feeding the machine. So by having a better mental performance, you're going to also improve your sales skills. Or by your team performing better, you're going to be able to have more money to invest into better training for your team. You're going to be able to have more money to improve your offer, the back end. You're going to be able to have more money to improve your ads, your messaging. So this hopefully showed you something in a different perspective from the perspective that you were viewing this so far. And you're probably like, well, how can I start? How can I start improving my team's or my mental performance so they can start closing at a higher percentage and generating more cash? It's not just doing more cold plunges, eating healthier, and going to bed earlier and just not scrolling on your phone that much. You have to look at things like your sleep quality, your routine, your habits, your diet, your metabolism, your digestion, your hormone levels. And it's not just me saying this, just have a look at what the leaders in the space are doing. You can look at the top performing sales teams like Andy Elliott, Alex Hormozi's sales team, Russell Brunson, Cole Gordon's sales team, Grant Cardone. All those guys are obsessed with their routines, their health, and their performance metrics. And there is a protocol that I've used with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of sales professionals and executives, like the people you see on the screen, that will help you understand where to start, because this is a really complicated subject. So you will probably see a video on the screen right now where I walk through some of the steps of the system so that you can watch it in your own time. And if this is interesting, you can probably book a call with me or my team so that we can walk you through how we can integrate this protocol and how we can integrate the system for your sales team or yourself so you can start closing better and generating more cash out of this metric. Hope this was useful. Take care.